Hey, Wish Camp, we are done with 21 days of team building. So I wanted to touch base with you, see where you're at with all of it, check in, see how many packets you've sent out. I see some of you commenting on that thread. I know it's an intense 21 days, so I just want to say I appreciate those of you who have really put in the work and done what you can. I know that really realistically, most of the people who start this don't finish it. And those who do finish it, most of us don't get all 300 people done. And that's okay. We set those goals super high and super big because then if we get even close to that, we've done a heck of a lot more than we would have done otherwise. So congratulations on getting as far as you have. And I just want to leave you with a few parting thoughts on follow-up so that as you're getting responses back from all these packets you've sent, that maybe you have some game plan or strategy in mind for how to follow up effectively with people. I apologize, my kid is out there having a meltdown. So if you hear kids screaming in the background, you're welcome. I'm a mom. So we're going to talk quickly about follow-up. Just basic ideas. Again, anything I give you as like a script or an outline, it really is more of an outline. So this is just to give you a general idea, but make it your own and then make it specific to each individual person you're talking to. I'm going to be doing this Wish Camp again in the Greece incentive event starting this week. And I'm going to change up a few things. I got some great feedback and I got some great suggestions. One really awesome one from Naomi that I'll be definitely implementing in the next one. And there are a couple other things I noticed throughout this one that I'm also going to be making a few little tweaks to how this is presented and some of the activities we do in it. But one of those being, once you've come up with the invitation and that 1 to 2 sentence why, and you've written that out, remembering that these are supposed to be personalized. So even once you come up with your own 1 to 2 sentence why and invitation, that's going to be different every time you send it to a different person. So you can't just copy and paste that invitation to each person and just put a new person's name at the top. It has to be personalized to them. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the next one. So going into this follow-up portion tonight, I wanted to talk to you about, keep that in mind. It's the same thing with follow-up. You want it to be personalized. No copy-paste, personalized messages to people. So when I touch base with somebody afterwards and they've gotten their packet and it's the date that we set up to meet and talk about this, I'm going to start with something like, hey, have you had time to check out everything I sent you? What did you love most? That is pretty much exactly what I would say to most people. So when I say like don't copy and paste things, on this opening line, that is pretty much what I say to everyone. I may be like, oh, hey, I saw that you went to Winter Haven last night. We went this week too. It was so beautiful. Did you get a chance to check everything out? So I might like add a personal thing, but really this follow-up message should be short, sweet, to the point. Hey, Sarah, had you a chance to try everything yet? What did you love most? It's just a great opener because it asks an open-ended question so that they don't just say yes or no and leave it at that. This asks them to give you some feedback and talk to you specifically about something they loved from the packet, which is always a good thing to get some feedback on. So as you're talking to them, keep the conversation going. Just like in the invitation process, the follow-up process is still just about relationships. It's still just about exposing them to you and to Perfectly Posh and setting up that next time to talk about it. So even if they don't go, hey, I loved everything, I want to join now, then that's fine. It's still a successful conversation if you set up another conversation and set up another engagement afterwards. Listen to their questions, ask them questions. Remember, we want them talking about themselves. We want them talking about them and their experiences. You are going to get some objections. That's just kind of natural. Not everybody jumps up and says, hey, I want to join right now. It would be nice, but it doesn't usually happen that way. And you want to keep in mind, too, the rule still applies. You do not ask them to join your team. You do not ask them to buy something. You do not ask them to host a party. That's not what this is. This process is about building a relationship and exposing them to Perfectly Posh and to you. So take those words out of your vocabulary. So these follow-up calls or texts, whatever, you're still not asking them to join your team. That should never come out. And in fact, I don't even mention joining my team or thinking that Posh would be great for them or anything like that unless it's somebody who's already gone there and mentioned that. Then I might say something like that. But for the most part, keep it really casual and focused on just wanting feedback from them and wanting to know more about them and their experiences with it. So let's say you check in with them and they say, oh, yeah, you know what? I haven't tried this stuff yet. I just haven't had time to even try it. So then I would be pretty direct about it and be like, oh, okay, I thought we were scheduled to chat about that today at 7. That's where I had you on my calendar. Do you think if you had like a day or two more that you'd be able to check it out either today or tomorrow? We can reschedule this for like Wednesday at 7. Would that work? And then I would set up again like that invitation process, those last 3 steps. I would do those again and I would set a date and confirm it. And I would make sure, like I would say, okay, I just want to like make absolute sure that you'll be able to check it out by then because I really need to get this feedback as soon as possible and I value yours a lot. So Wednesday at 7, right? Like I would really make sure to get that confirmed so that they realize, oh yeah, I did, commit to that. So I will be there for the next one. And a lot of times you'll get them saying, you know what, I probably could check it out tonight. So let me go check that out and I'll let you know tonight what my thoughts are. Okay, so we'll go over some common objections like, I don't have the money. That's a common one. I don't have any money to do something like this right now. Another one is, I don't have any time to do something like this right now. I'm really busy. I have a lot going on. Another objection is, I'm not a salesperson and I don't want to be pushy. That's a really common one that I get. This just isn't a good time. I have a lot going on right now, surgery's coming up or school's starting or we have a vacation planned next week or whatever. It's just not a good time. Number 5, I need to talk to my spouse. That happens. People do say that one. So I just want to touch on those objections really quick. If you have other objections that you've commonly gotten, I'll invite you to post those in the comments here and we can brainstorm and bounce some ideas off of each other. You may be getting some already. If you've done this process and you've sent out all these packets, you're probably into the follow-up stage at this point. And so I want to be a resource to you when you get these messages from people to be able to help you convert these objections to either a yes or a keep the conversation open kind of thing. Now, if you get through these and for them it's like, no, this just really is not, it's not going to happen. That doesn't have to be a no. Nothing comes out of this. Turn it around and say, okay, cool, it's not for everybody. And I appreciate you just telling me that. That helps me out a ton. So who do you know then that might want to work from home and be able to stay home with their kids and make some money? Or, okay, totally get it. It's not for you. It's definitely not for you. That's cool. Who do you know that, wants to be able to start a really awesome business and impact some women's lives and make enough money to quit their job? Who do you know like that? I'm sure there's somebody in your life who could use this. Just because it's not for them doesn't mean it's not for someone else in their life. So always try to get a referral out of that conversation, okay? So there are very few hard no's. You can at least get a next engagement, which means that that's still a yes. Or you can get a referral from someone, which means that that's still a potential yes. So we have to start looking at it that way. There was a quote that was talked about repeatedly at the GoPro Recruiting Mastery Conference this past weekend that I attended on live stream. And it was, we need to divorce the outcome and be married to the process. And as soon as we could get divorced from that outcome and needing to hear a yes and being afraid to hear a no, we can really be married to the process, and that is where success happens. And so that's what we need to do. We need to get married to the process of this instead of being so freaked out by the outcome. Especially when the outcome, if you're getting a referral or if you're getting, someone who's saying, yeah, check back in with me when the new catalog launches or whatever, those are still yeses. So celebrate those, keep those conversations open, keep those relationships open, and you've succeeded with that person, okay? So let's talk about these top objections. I already told you how to handle the, I haven't even tried it yet, objection. Another one is I don't have money. So if somebody says, you know what, I don't have the money, we're broke, I don't have the money to do $99 right now. I always go back to ask questions, get them talking, get to know like really more about what's going on with them. So I would say, oh yeah, I've been there too. Like, tell me more about that. What's going on that's making it so tough right now? And get them talking. Get them talking about, well, my husband, his hours have been cut, and with all this stuff with Christmas coming up, blah, 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 blah. Hear them, validate them. Don't disempower them or criticize them or make them feel the need to get defensive about it. Because for them, while we might think it's an excuse, for them it's a reason. They don't see it as an excuse just yet. They don't have that mindset yet. If we're being honest, a lot of us, even in the business, use a lot of excuses. And we're not in the mindset where we can see that it's actually an excuse. And so they don't have the money. Ask them some questions about that. Oh, I'm sorry to hear stuff is so tough right now for you guys. What's going on? Tell me more about that. So be their friend, listen to them, be a sounding board, build a relationship. Again, remember, it's a success if you've built a relationship with people. And if they feel like they can talk to you without being sold, they're going to be more likely to join down the road because they're going to see, oh, she didn't sell me. That's awesome. That's different. We want to be different. We don't want to be like everybody else that's out there pushing people and running over people, okay? So even if we think it's an excuse and we know that they have extra money that they're just not spending on this, that's fine, but we don't have to tell them that and rub that in their face. So be a friend. I would say, though, that one of the things I've found to be really helpful to maybe helping them change that mindset or that perspective a little bit is when they say something like, I just don't have the money, where things are really tight right now. I just share my story. So I tell them, you know what? I totally get that. I have been there. And when I joined Posh, we were flat broke. We had no money. It was the week before Christmas, and we had just come out of bankruptcy, and my husband was working a lot, but we really didn't even have enough to cover all the bills at that point. So I totally get it. All I know is I went ahead and did it because it helped out my cousin and I really wanted to help her out. But all I know is that within 3 months, I was making a full-time income because I committed to it and I really, really went all in on it. So I know that this disabled homeschool mom of 3 very small children with no money, no time, no energy, crappy health, all I know is that I was able to do it even without the money. And I see the same thing in you. I can see that you're driven. I can see that when you do something, you do it 100%. And that's what it takes to be successful in this. And so for me, I went from flat broke and having no time and no money to being able to not have to worry about my bills anymore. And it's been such a blessing and a relief for me. So what I did there is I empathized with her. I showed her, I get where you're at. I've been where you are. And I totally get it. But then I offered her hope. And I told her my story. Because she can make excuses for herself all day long. We all do that. But what she can't do is discount my experience and what has happened in my life and what is my truth. And what is truth overall is that I was broke and now I'm not. And so that would be a good way to overcome a money objection. Now, if you're someone who has not made a ton of money with Posh just yet, then of course maybe your story isn't that, but use mine. Feel free to use my story. Be like, you know what? all I know is my upline premier was completely broke. She's disabled. She stays at home with her kids, and they had filed bankruptcy, and they had no money. They had to borrow money to be able for her to buy this kit. And within a couple months, she was getting $1,000 bonus checks every month. So, like, all I know is I've seen her do it, so I know it's possible. So if you don't have your own story, use someone else's story, but people can't argue with stories and real life experiences and testimonials. So that goes to the next objection as well, the no time. You know, like, I'm too busy, no time. I would use probably that same story and that same approach on that one because I did not have time. I was too busy. Again, homeschool mom of 3, and with all my medical problems, I'm at doctor's appointments all the time and running my husband's business. And at the time, I was running a doula agency too. I did not have time to do this. However, all I know is the time showed up. And the good thing about Posh really is that 5 or 10 minutes a day, you can get some traction. So if you have anything more than that, then you're good. And whatever you're able to put into it, you'll get back. But I figured out that, like, as I did more with Posh and started spending more time doing my Posh business, the more time and energy it seemed like I had, because this fires me up. This gives me energy. This has helped me be more efficient and effectively use my time in better ways. So in so many ways, I feel like I've gained time since joining Posh. It's a very interesting situation. So I might share that then with somebody who says they're too busy. But again, I start by asking questions and listening. So if they say I'm just too busy, I have too much going on right now. Oh man, yeah, I totally get that. I feel like I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off most days. So tell me about that. Like, what have you been up to? What do you guys do that keeps you so busy? Get them talking about themselves. As much as it sounds terrible, people like to talk about themselves. They like to feel heard. We all have that need to feel heard. So hear them, and genuinely, truly listen to what they're saying so that you can connect with them person to person, and they feel like they know, they can feel the connection that you're making with them. That takes walls down very quickly when people know you and trust you. So be someone that they can know. Be someone that's trustworthy. I'm not a salesperson and I'm not pushy. God, me neither. I am not a salesperson and I am not pushy. And that was my biggest barrier, signing on. And it's why when I did sign on, I had no intention of running a business out of it, because I did not want to be a direct salesperson, because that is not me. And so I actually just sat down and talked with someone this week who that was her thing. She's like, you know what? I don't want to be pushy. I don't like to sell stuff. And I'm like, well, good. Me neither. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah, no, I don't like to sell stuff. And in fact, I will never ask you to join my team. I won't. I'll give you the information. We're sitting over coffee and I'm showing her I handed her the packet and we had talked a little bit about Greece and I was playing with her baby son, and it was very casual. And I mean, a lot of you can attest to that. In the beginning, I think I did ask people to join my team, but I learned very quickly that you don't need to. So why go there? And so she was like, huh, you're right. You never have asked me to join your team. I'm like, no, because I'm not like that. And it kind of grosses me out when other people come at me like I'm like their prey and they're hunting me. And I'm like, nope. We are not hunters. Keep that in mind. Like, we are not out there stalking our prey looking for the right moment to pounce. We're fishers. We're sitting in our boat, throwing out the bait. If someone bites, they bite. If someone doesn't, we enjoy the process of having a nice day on the boat, checking out the scenery. That's how we should approach this whole thing, is like, we are fishers. We are not hunters. So if we catch one, awesome. And if we don't, awesome. We're not out there stalking people. We're out there enjoying what we're doing. So view it as fishing. And when someone says, I'm not a salesperson, I'm not pushy, well, I'm not either. And neither is 95% of our team. But we've managed to be very, very successful because of that. Because with Posh, you don't have to be pushy. You just have to get it on people. And you don't even have to sell it to get it on people. You just offer people a little gift because you care about them and you're thinking about them. So just be very upfront on that objection. Good, you don't have to be pushy. You don't have to be a salesperson. I certainly am not. And I have never once gone out of my way to push my friends or family for a sale or to join my team or anything else. If I am doing this genuinely with the goal of connection and relationship, which I am, then those things happen naturally. And so there is no need to push or be a salesperson. And so the final two are like, it's not a good time to join. That one can be a little trickier because if it is something concrete, like they have surgery coming up or their kid is going off to school and they're going to have to go help them get settled in for a couple weeks, it really might not be the best time for them to join, right? Like, because they want to get off to the best start possible and be able to focus on the quick start program and all of that and hit those goals. So maybe what you do is give them a couple options. So if they're interested, but it's just not the right time, I might even feel that out. I might say, okay, so are you actually like interested in this and it's just really not a good time? Or are you telling me that because you just don't want to hurt my feelings? Because I promise if you're not interested, it won't hurt my feelings. You can just tell me that. But if you are interested, we can see what options we have here. That right there again, like disarms people and they go, oh, huh. She's not going to just try to like sell me on this. And so if they're not interested, you gave them their out and they can be like, you know what? Yeah, I really just don't want to do it, but I didn't want to hurt your feelings. And you can say, oh, I love that you're so sweet. Don't worry about hurting my feelings. I appreciate that you just told me the truth. And if they answer the other way, yeah, actually, I'm really interested in this. It really is not the right time with everything that's coming up in the next couple weeks. Then I might say, okay, well then let's talk about your options. Let's see what options you have. Posh does have this quick start program and we have these systems in Team Wish. And actually we're getting ready to start a Wish camp right now that basically teaches you how to start your business by building your team. And it's a system. You just do the step by step and you could build that team really quickly. And the way it works is that you do all of this work. It's like front loaded. So like all the preparation and stuff you do is all within the first week or two. So we could get that over and done and get you launched and off to a great start before you have to go for 2 weeks with your kid to campus. And then when you get back, you can start all your follow-up and everything, and your business will already be off to a great start. And you don't have to change anything. It's not going to interfere with your life and what you have to do at all. I actually have someone right now who is having surgery in a couple weeks and trying to figure out if now's a good time or if she should wait, because she really is interested in doing it. She wants to work the business. And so, and it's about them. It's about really what is best for them. And so with her, I've kind of talked through some options. Like, you know, we have this Wish camp. We can get you set up. We can get all of that stuff banged out right now because she likes what's in the December kit. And I'm like, we can get it all banged out right now. And then you can have your recovery time after your surgery. And then when you're feeling up to it, you can start your follow-up with people who have already gotten these packets. So that's an option. Or wait until after you have the surgery mid-month, see how you're feeling, and then go from there. But the other thing is, if you don't hit your quick start goals, it's not a huge deal. It really isn't. It's not like you get penalized for not hitting those goals. They're good to hit because you get fun prizes and stuff like that, but a lot of our premieres are premieres and they never hit any of those quick start goals, not a single one. So it's not like your whole business is dependent on how you start. So talk through options. Again, make it a conversation. Help them figure out what is best for them and when. But I would start that particular objection with, yeah, I know. So, okay, before we chat about this anymore, just be honest with me. Like, are you really interested in this and you want to give it a go, but you're not sure how to make it work? Or are you like not interested, but you're just afraid to hurt my feelings? I would start that way with that particular objection. And the same with the next one. I need to talk to my spouse. I would start that with, oh, I love that. Like, I talk to my husband about everything too. Is it really that you like run all of your decisions by your husband first? Or is this a situation where you're just like not wanting to do it, but you're afraid to tell me, or you can't figure out how to say that to me? Again, I would start it that way. Like, So do you really run every decision by your husband? Or is it that, you don't want to do this and you're just trying to find an easier way to let me down? I would start with that. And then if like, no, actually I really am interested, but my husband and I just have an agreement that anything over a certain amount, we talk about it first. And I'd be like, okay, cool. My husband and I actually have that agreement. We don't spend, anything over $100 without talking to each other about it first, just out of respect for each other, because it's family finances. And so I actually love that you have that arrangement with your husband, like my husband and I do too. So that's great. Do you think you have all the information that you need to be able to show him like what this opportunity is, or do you want to maybe set up a time where the three of us can hang out or talk on the phone or do a Skype or whatever, so that I can answer any questions he might have? Or do you feel comfortable presenting everything to him? Because if so, then have at it. Show him the packet, let him try some stuff, and let me know what you guys decide. Would Wednesday be a good time to follow up? Again, I'm going back to the invitation because now it's basically we're starting the invitation process over with her spouse. So I would start that over again and say, okay, cool. Looking at the schedule here, I have some time Friday afternoon. Would he be able to look everything over by Friday afternoon so that we can talk about it then? And follow up from there. So those are your top objections you're going to hit, and you're going to find most objections are the same objections over and over again. So when you learn how to respond to them the right way, you can convert most of those pretty easily. The key is to not flinch and not get overwhelmed by that initial no or that initial question. When you confidently know that what you're presenting is great, and when you confidently go in assuming that they're going to say yes, then it's a lot easier when you get those objections to not let it affect you and not like have it rattle you. When you can just go, oh yeah, I know, I've been there too. So tell me more about that. What's going on? Then it makes it so that it's not awkward for you. It's not awkward for them. It's not like you're hearing no and now you're discouraged and disappointed. So learning how to anticipate these objections and have a clear, easy, casual response to them can make all the difference in how these follow-up calls go. So I'd recommend watching this back. I see Melissa, you just hopped on too. Recommend watching this video back and write down some of the responses I did for these objections and practice them if you have to. But get them so that it's a natural response when these come up, because they're going to. These are the common ones that we get. That way, when they come up, it doesn't become like this weird thing for you or for them. And I think you're going to see a lot more successful conversations with people once you have these responses really plugged in and dialed in. So watch it back. Let me know if you have any questions, post them in the comments, or if you have any other objections that I didn't cover in this one, put them in the comments as well, and we can brainstorm those together too. But have a great night, ladies. Thank you for being involved and a part of this wish camp. It's 21 hardcore days, and I know that it is, and we're gonna get ready to start a whole new one coming up this week. So if for some reason you weren't able to do this one or finish this one, get ready, because we have another one coming up, and we are gonna try to get as much of Team Wish as we can to Greece, and it is all dependent on team building. So the more that we can master this process, the better. And I will talk to you guys soon.